时空换随意，放心当下戏。Spring is here, the flowers breathe their fragrance to the sun.
Hey everybody, Amitofo. Welcome. Glad you're here. My name is Heng. Today is Saturday, May 18th here in the Gold Coast of Queensland. It is Friday night, the 17th of May in California. We're about to launch into today's episode of the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. So if that's what you've come for, you are in the right place. I'd like to remind everybody that if you would like to hear what I'm saying in English translated into fluent Mandarin Chinese, go down to the bottom of your, listen, I need to say that in Chinese, so I'll be right back. 各位，如果你们想听一种流利的翻译，我所讲的英语呢，我们有义工很发心把我的英语翻译普通话，大家你们可以听到了。这就是说，我们软体的控制板的右下角 interpretation， 你如果看到那里就有 Chinese 在那儿。Also, we have a translation of what I'm going to say into Vietnamese. And it's right there in the chat box. Click on that link and you'll be able to hear my stories translated into fluent Vietnamese. Also, if anybody would like to request Dharma in a future episode, there is a link in our chat box with instructions for how to do that. So in one moment, I'm going to ring my bell 3 times, and then Sarah is going to request Dharma for all of us. So let's see now. Here's our Dharma request protocols, and there we go. Now, right from where I'm sitting, I'm going to ring the bell 3 times. You're invited to join me and make 3 half bows from wherever you are. Here we go. First bow, second bow, third bow. Alrighty, now Sarah, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
Bang ting da de seng ting, wei si fa hui ji yi, qie zheng sheng, qing zhuan miao fa lun jiao, da wo ben, ru he liao sheng tuo si li, ku de le, su zheng wu sheng. Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss, and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya samputoshe.
Namo Saranto Suchiroye Elahari Sanmiao Sanputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Okay, Sarah, thank you so much for the Dharma request. Coming all the way from Kentucky. What a treat. We'd like to acknowledge the Kombumerri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就是说我们恭敬地承认Ugambi语族的贡布马里人，他们是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Yes, there we go. And our last bit of protocol here is to sing the bell song. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报他诺后德。All right, there we go. We're finished with our protocols for our Dharma request. Let's see here. We will save that and take a look at who's with us. We're going to make a circle around the whole planet. One of the nice things about Zoom, our software, is that you can add your location. So we know who is here and where they are, so that around the planet, it's amazing. This technology that we're using really does give us a sense of global community. The 地球村, the global village, is a reality on these lectures. So I'm in the Gold Coast of Queensland, here in the hinterland. Our Dharma host is in Fremont, California. Our translator, sitting here in the room with me, let's see, our Dharma requester was in Tennessee, Kentucky, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. So, Louisville, there we go. Our co-host is, let's see, at Jinan Fajie. Bill is here from Cascade, Colorado, as he is every week. Celeste is joining us from Hong Kong. Mr. E is here from LA. Connie's in Sunnyvale. Gokuk is in Alameda. And her husband Guoji is there as well. Duc Leban's in Montreal, and we have to say La Belle Province de Quebec. They're in Quebec in honor of my dad, who came from Sherbrooke. Let's see, Elaine is in Round Rock, Texas, with Ethan and Justin Toe. Where else here? Then let's see here. We've got the Guo family from Liaoning. We have our friends are here from Guangdong, Foshan-shi, Buddha Mountain City in Guangdong. Jane is in Ukiah. Jensen's in Kuala Lumpur. Jin Yong is in CTDB. Jin Yong, sure, welcome. Johan is here from Malaysia. Joseph from Sydney. Katie from Union City. Kevin and family from the Gold Coast. Hey, all right. Leah is here from Waterloo, Ontario. Leonie from Ukiah. Lynn is in San Rafael. Lisa's in Fremont. Loy's in Singapore. Mr. Lu is in Liaoning. Maya's in the Bay Area. Sun Mingfang is in Taipei. 非常欢迎的哈。Guozhen is in Alameda. Nini is in Manila. Hey, Nini, glad you're here. Wanlong in Mesa, Arizona. Paul from Pinole, California, Peggy from Calgary, Ron from San Jose, Sandy in Santa Clara, Sarah's in Memphis. Okay, Memphis, the other end of the state. Oh, okay. I had you up in Louisville, but that's Kentucky and this is Tennessee. How could I make that mistake? Oh man, my own Midwestern geography. Okay, Susan is here. Sylvia's in Seattle. Tina in Oklahoma. Trans in San Jose. Let's see here. DRBA is in somewhere in California. Willie's in Virginia. YC's in Ukiah. Got photos coming, YC. Well, you can choose your lotus face to face. Okay, Mr. Ding is in Vancouver. Jen is in Santa Barbara. Then we switch over to this side of the world, and Qiufu Fun's in Taipei. Yunda is in Neimangu. Mr. Ni is in Harbin. Mr. Feng is in Hangzhou. Mr. Liu is in Liaoning. Another Mr. Liu in Anhui, Hefei. Let's see here. Mr. Tang is in Jiangsu, Yancheng. Okay, Mr. Chu is in Liaoning. Manchuria wins. More followers of Master Xuyun Hua, for sure. Let's see. Mr. Cui is here. One is in Liaoning, the other is in Xi'an. Look at that. Mr. Zhang is in Anhui, Suzhou. Okay, here's a Mr. Zhang who is in San Jose. Another Mr. Zhang is in Shanxi, and another Mr. Zhang is in Fuzhou, Quanzhou. Fujian, Quanzhou, Fujian. Mr. Cao is in Anhui. Mr. Yang is in Beijing. Mr. Liang is in Beijing. I hope it's a Mr. I can't tell from the name. Okay, Liaoning, Huerhaute, Neimangu, Inner Mongolia. Let's see, Mr. Cai is here from Hangzhou, from, let's see, Harbin. Okay. Mr. Zhao from Shanghai. Mr. Qiu from Ningbo. Okay, let's see here. Then Mr. Tao from Shanghai. Let's see, Lei Meiping is in Hubei, and Mr. Gao Lifang is in Shanghai. There we go. All righty. Whew, tongue twisters. Now, to our stories directly. Let's go right to what everyone has come for. Oh, no, actually, before we do that, I'll say this twice so that people can make plans. After next week's lecture, which will be on the 25th, I will be in the air flying back to California. The following week, 1 week from today, everything will be the same. The following week, I will be back in California. We have to decide whether to keep the lecture at the same time. I think so. It's a Friday evening in California, competing with Professor Verhoeven's Avatamsaka lecture. Oops. But he sits in meditation for the first 45 minutes of his lecture. So people who like to listen to Marty's lecture can still catch our stories. I understand that many of us come to these lectures because they want to find out what happens next. Master Empty Cloud's story has caught us. He is just about to finish his 3 steps, 1 bow pilgrimage. And we counted up, of the 200-some episodes in this complete picture biography, over 30 of them have to do with Sambu Ibai, 3 steps, 1 bow. So we are just at the end now of his pilgrimage. So what happens next? Well, among other things, is he gets enlightened. In the next, it takes another 10 years of stories, but that whole episode at Gaominsi, when 北自普落地，向生命历历，虚空分翠也，狂心当下歇, that is coming up. So you definitely want to be there for that, right? So for those of you who are engaged now in the story, we will continue week after week. And if there's any change for any reason, like it's possible I could be somewhere without good internet or something like that, I will let you know in advance. But those of you who want to hear the story from week to week, we're going to try our best to keep the lectures regular. All right? Okay, I will announce that one more time at the end of tonight's lecture. Here we are. There's our story. Here's today's lecture. Now, what has happened? Should we put a context in? We found out last week that for some strange karmic reason, as Master Empty Cloud bowed along, he encountered look at the title here, 拒绝与欢迎者. He was both rejected and then welcomed. Just the way it is with every individual's karma. And while he was an 8th stage bodhisattva, Patipusa, at the same time, Master Empty Cloud had his own personal yanfen, his own personal affinities, which resulted in this kind of whiplash of someone treating him like a social deviant. He got scolded for having a companion, when in fact the companion was Manjushri Bodhisattva. And then the very person who turned him away turns around and welcomes him. Now, for that reason, Master Empty Cloud pursued Wenji, the beggar, who had been sent away and couldn't find him. The week before, we saw him bowing along at night and very agitated inside his heart. And as a result, his 心里的火气，他内在的火气就大了。结果呢, his inner heat grew, and they call it fire energy. And guess what? He got a nosebleed. But he didn't stop bowing. And what do you do when you have a nosebleed and you're putting your body down to the ground and standing up and going down to the ground? Is your face shows blood. When he got to the monastery with a bloody face, the Zhike monk took a look at him and said, nope, sorry, we're not letting you in. Who knows what's wrong with you? You could be a demon, you could be a ghost, you could be somebody who's dressed as a monk but is actually fist fighting. Maybe somebody slugged you. Anyway, stay out. And so, never mind that this is Master Empty Cloud, who is the most famous and the most virtuous monk in 200 years. He gets rejected. He has to keep bowing. So along he goes outside, keeping his vow to complete his pilgrimage to Wutaishan. My goodness. And then, right in the midst of this, you could say, head-spinning reception of rejection and then welcoming, he meets a young man. And our verse last week at the end went like this. It went, 出城礼拜遇青年僧文贤，特别欢迎，竭诚恭敬，住10日行。On the 22nd, he left the city and continued bowing. He then encountered a young Sangha member named Wen Xian, who warmly received the master with sincerity and deference. The master stayed 10 days and then resumed his bowing. Oh my goodness. So the picture tells the story. Here is a young monk coming out to greet the pilgrim with the bloody face, and you can see the other passers-by are paying no attention to the monk. He doesn't have yuanfen, affinities, in this part of Shanxi province. He's very close to Wutaishan. He's almost there. His pilgrimage is almost over, but there is still suffering ahead. 3 steps, 1 bow is never easy. Now, and Shifu gives us this summary from Master Hua's point of view. He says, 一番寒冷，一番春，放瘦白眼欲垂青，巨流欢迎恭亲历，试问动心不动心。Passing through the freezing cold, he then encountered spring. After glares and ridicule, he met kindness and favor. The master himself experienced both rejection and warm welcome. I ask you now, did his mind move or did it not? Okay, Shifu in his 4-line verse takes us right to the heart of the pilgrim. He takes us into Master Empty Cloud's mind and makes it a sort of huatou, you could say, a meditation topic, and gives us a chance to reflect too. How do we react when people are good to us and then treat us with something else? All it takes sometimes is somebody to like raise an eyebrow and we feel rejected and feel like the fire rises up and we have to get back at them. We have to come up with a snappy retort to show them that they can't treat us like, right? Shifu understands that and gives us Master Empty Cloud's response for us to contemplate. We can we can can huatou. We can look into this meditation topic. How would we react when we're kicked out and then suddenly welcomed? Interesting. Okay, that's our context. Are we ready for today's verse? Here it is. The title is 恭送十里惜别, respectfully accompanying the Master for 10 miles and then departing in sorrow. Remember, this is the 19th century. This is not even the 20th century. When you live 120 years, your lifespan can span 3 different centuries if you're at the end of the 19th through the 20th, right? So, 45 years old, the 10th year of the Guangxu reign period, he's 45. Here's the Chinese. Let's take a look. 文贤送衣物，旅费公盖不受。临行带悉行李，相送10余程，洒泪而别。时乃5月初1日也。向荆州前进，燕曰：有道人，人亲。有德处处尊，文贤大士，挽留公久住，不住，亦见公之横愿不变。Wen Xian offered the master clothing, provisions, and money for traveling expenses, all of which he refused. When he left, Wen Xian accompanied him, carrying his bags more than 10 miles, and then, weeping, took his leave. It was the first day of the 5th lunar month, and the master headed for Xinzhou, which is Happy County. A proverb says, people draw near men of the way and honor those with virtue. The Venerable Wen Xian was unable to hold the master for very long. From this, we can see the master's vows did not waver. Okay, can we take just a second and look at the story? What's going on? If you have ever traveled out to remote Shanxi province, this is the boondocks. Shanxi province is mountainous. The soil is not fertile for easy growing. It's in the winter. Wutaishan itself, which is a major Buddhist center, is sometimes cut off for months. Too much snow. And there are many stories about if you, in the Sangha, if you are known as somebody who made it through the winter at Wutaishan, you get a merit badge. You're considered tough. If you survived a winter at Wutaishan, your status in the eyes of the cultivators grows, because why? They say there are some years when Wutaishan is completely snowed in, and you have what is called chou ganja, stinky sugarcane, which is basically fermented sugarcane that never changes from year to year, right? That's all you have to eat, because there's no more, they don't do airdrops or helicopter lifts. You just survive on what there is. And if it's chou ganja, stinky sugarcane, you can imagine how resilient and how much, as they say, bitterness you can eat. 你可以吃多少苦头啊？冬天在五台山，哎呦，这个人呐，他真的硬骨头啊。You got stiff bones if you can make it through the winter at Wutaishan. So here he is, and in this circumstance, he's found a friend. This monk, young monk whose name is Wenxian, is clearly what we call Zhiyinja. He is someone who, in the midst of rejection and near death, Master Empty Cloud almost died, don't forget. It was only because of Wenji, the beggar, curing his dysentery that allowed him to continue. And then Wenji carries his bags until they reach the Baiyun Si, and the Zhike there chases away the Bodhisattva. Big mistake on his part, and causing Master Empty Cloud to suddenly realize what he's lost. He's lost his Bodhisattva savior, although does he know he's a Bodhisattva? We never quite know. In any case, it's he's had that friend disappear, and the next place he stops, they look at his bloody nose and refuse him entry. So he's alone again, out there in the wilderness, basically. And so here is another young monk who suddenly goes, "Oh, you've come. How rare, how special. Please stay. I know who you are. You are a Da De Gao Seng. You're a virtuous monk with great lofty virtue. Please stay." What does Master Empty Cloud do? And the question is, what would you do? Well, he is always true to his vows and to his mission. Now, in our Mahayana, what do you say? In our world, we have another model of someone who is true to his vows. Who was that? Master who? Master Xuanzhuang Dashi, Master Xuanzhuang. His name is always hard to say. Sometimes Xuanzang, sometimes Xuanzhuang. Xuanzang Fashi, during the Tang, was the famous monk who traveled to India to bring back the sutras. Likewise, he was pursued by demons. He was kidnapped by bandits. He traveled over the Himalayas on foot when horses and mules and camels and monks died. He didn't. He was bribed by kings. "Oh, you will stay here, won't you? We will give you 100 monasteries and 1,000 disciples if you stay." He was threatened by kings. The king of Gaochang said, "Well, I have ways to keep you here, even if you don't want to, even if you want to go, you know." Master Xuanzang, what did he do? He said, "Fine, I won't eat. You can keep me, you keep my body, but you can't keep my mind." And he nearly starved when the king of Gaochang, who was in fact a virtuous man, said, "Oh, I don't want you to die on my account. Okay, please eat something, we'll let you go, but you have to stay for a month and teach." So right, all of these temptations to turn his back on his vows, and he doesn't. He says, "I have to bring the sutras back. Guanyin Bodhisattva has saved my life multiple times. I can't, I can't forget my vows. I have to continue. So there's two monks who are, whose vows are their northern star, their beidou, their pole star. They can't retreat. And I would add our teacher, Master Xuyun, as another monk whose vows are the, you could say, the skeleton that holds their body up and the skin that holds their body in, their practices and vows. Master Xuyun made a vow to bring the Dharma to the West. And while we're still retelling Shifu's story, his story has not yet been told entirely, but he encountered all kinds of obstacles and reasons why a normal person would say, enough, that's it, I'm out of here. I'm going to cash in my chips, I'm going to get a refund and come back next time. Shifu did not. He continued his vows, and as a result, we have a City of 10,000 Buddhas, we have Dharma Realm Buddhist University, we have Buddhist Text Translation Society, we have hundreds of monks and nuns and lay people interested in the Dharma and making the propagation of the Dharma their own vows. So these are, when we value the Bodhisattva path, we have in our memory of our own generations, we have individuals who embody that Bodhisattva path. So here is this young monk, Wen Xian, says, yes, you are a very special guest. I really wish you would stay. Won't you consider out there in the boondocks of Shanxi province? And what does Master Empty Cloud do? He says, no thanks. Thank you for the clothes, I got clothes. Thank you for the backpack, I got a backpack. Basically, I don't, but thank you. Thank you for the money, who needs money? And so Wen Xian says, I'll be your backpack. I'll carry your bags. 10 miles. In my pilgrimage, I took a mile a day. So I know what 10 miles means for having somebody accompany you that long, who then says, I've got to go back. Please succeed. I wish you success. And moved by emotion, goes back home. Shifu gives us in his story, 有道人人亲，有道处处尊, where people have the Tao, others draw near. Where virtue abides, we find worthy individuals. So Wen Xian couldn't hold him back, although human kindness is what keeps the world turning. Still, there's something deeper. Master Empty Cloud's vows. 修道原来不练情，淡然无畏白水心，万物尽欢皆自得，四时佳兴与人同. Okay, this is masterful Chinese poetry. Shifu would say, no, it's a jisong. 这不是诗，这是 jisong. It's just outstanding. A true cultivator of the way does not pursue emotions. Her mind became like ordinary water, plain and flavorless. Contemplating the myriad things in stillness with self-mastery, view the splendid turnings of the four seasons shared among us all. Now, because Shifu writes and speaks from the nature, from his own Buddha nature, you could say his perspective is broad and vast, beyond ordinary things like what? Good feeling. A true cultivator of the way would consider the offer by this young monk, Wen Xian, to stay and keep him cultivate together with him. Master Empty Cloud has another view, a deeper view, which is his view of the way says, I wasn't unhappy when I was rejected. I'm not delighted when I'm welcomed. My mind is on the Tao, and the Tao is like water. It nurtures all beings impartially. It flows to places where people don't go, to the lowest places, but it benefits all beings. That's why it is close to the Tao. His mind is like Guanyin, Bodhisattva's mind. All beings are included within, friend and foe alike. Viewing the splendid turnings of the four seasons shared among us all, he goes beyond simple emotion. Right? So with this 4-line verse, suddenly we're looking at the Tao, not just gain and loss, friend and enemy, happiness and sadness, way beyond. Here's his belongings, here's the ragrobe monk, here's the local bhikshu who's got virtue but has to go back to the see the city walls here. Beautiful illustration. That's the story. Now, as I've been, when we can, I've been adding the Nianpu account. Not that, but this. Here is the inside story, the part from which Master Hua drew his encounter to his text to make an encounter. It's right here. 北门外于一青年僧，名文贤，见于近前招呼，借过拜登行礼，请进寺内，爱敬如亲，令到方丈陪茶饭，谈此余问。大和尚是年余岁，又系外省人，何以在此住址？ Okay, so at the northern gate, Master Empty Cloud is out of the town now. I met a young monk whose name was Wen Xian, learned and worthy. When he saw me, he came right up and greeted me. 借过拜定行礼, and he asked if he could carry my bags. 清净寺内, he invited me into his monastery, 爱敬如亲, and his affection and respect for me was as if to a relative, to a family member. We went to see the abbot, who greeted me with tea and food, 探寺, and then as we chatted along, I asked him, Venerable Sir, you only seem to be like 20 years old, and yet you are not a local. You're not from around here. You're from elsewhere. How could you come here to be the manager? He said, now this is Wen Xian, the young monk, telling his story. 我父亲在此做官多年，后在平阳赴任上，被奸臣所害，母意去云，我含泪出家，此间官身旧有亡患，故let's see here，故要至此，早想摆脱。尽当上做道风，心神领悟，请在这里常住清净。So his story goes like this. My father was, this is the young monk's story. My father was an appointed government servant, a civil servant here for many years. So in other words, he came from the aristocracy. He was the son of a wealthy family. 后在平阳赴任上, he got promoted to a higher authority in a place called Pingyang Fu. However, he encountered some jealousy. Jianchen means there was a crooked, corrupt official there who harmed him. So he says, my dad was a good guy, but in the bureaucracy, there's dragons and snakes all mixed up together. And he met somebody who probably was jealous of his promotion and who made it his business to harm my father. Probably slandered him, probably spread some gossip above so that somebody believed the gossip and talked badly about him. My mother died of her remorse. So my mother couldn't take it and died. What did I do? Because seeing the difficulty involved in Chinese civil service, I left home with tears in my eyes. 我含泪出家. The son, in a normal situation, the son, excuse me, the son might follow the father to success in the civil service, but Wan Xian says, I was so discouraged. I was so, you could say, made disappointed. I was made cynical and just shocked at the reality of the world that I left home. I decided not to pursue wealth and honor. 之间更甚就有文化. And since then, the public servants here have come and gone, many of them. And I found my way to this place and wanted to, 早想摆脱, I wanted to cultivate the way to success. I wanted to leave the world behind. But you know, and this is my interjection here, how many true monks who've made the Bodhi resolve come through to serve as role models? Maybe one. It might be Master Empty Cloud, might be the first true cultivator this young man has seen. So, Jin Dan Shang Shang Zuo Dao Feng, when I looked up at your wind of the way, your Dao Feng. Shang Zuo is his term of respect for Master Empty Cloud. When I see your Dao Feng, your virtue in the way, Xin Shen Xiangfu, I am so impressed, I'm so moved by you, Qing Zai Zhili Changzhu Qinjin. Won't you please consider staying here to keep me company, so to speak, so we can cultivate together? All right? So this is the inside story. Shifu took from this encounter another perspective because he has to keep the story rolling. But what I like is from this encounter, Shifu selected the view from the mind ground, from the Xindi, right, in order to tell his story of how hard it is to turn away from emotion and good feeling. He's not, as Shifu tells the story, he's not reducing, he's not, what do you say, that's not the word. He's not looking lightly on kindness and compassion and human connection. He's pointing instead to a deeper mission, to a deeper, what's the word? Authority? No, that's not it either. Master Empty Cloud owns his vows, and he is, mind you, what's he doing this for? He is repaying the kindness of his mother and father, who his mother died in childbirth, his father felt so discouraged by his, you could say, failure to produce a son who wanted to follow in his footsteps. From the father's point of view, Master Empty Cloud leaving home was a loss. As far as we know, Dad never reconciled having a monk for a son. He wanted his son to carry on the family name. Master Empty Cloud understands that by leaving home, after multiple attempts to keep him at home, he was a loss to both his parents. As a result, he's bowing in order to cultivate the way to create goodness and repay their kindness. Interesting, huh? So those are his vows. Is he bowing for world peace? Is he bowing to keep the world from destroying itself? No. He has another debt that he owes, and yet those vows are enough to keep him on the path until his vows are complete. So he is determined to get to Wu Taishan. The price he is willing to pay is death. That's not dramatic. He nearly died twice. And Wenji tested him. Wenji, the beggar, as we learned, said, okay, enough, you've done it. It's so hard. There's too much snow on the ground. You can't even see the path. You should stop. Take a break. You've done it. Master Empty Cloud says, nope, I have not. Thank you for that. The unreliable guest prefect at White Cloud Monastery chased away his companion and then flips and says, oh, here, have some food. You're welcome. I've been here alone. Please stay. Master Empty Cloud says, thanks, bye, I'm gone. Chases after Wenji, can't find him. Still willing to face the suffering. And I got to tell you, if you haven't picked up by now, 3 steps, 1 bow is hard. This is hard. This is hard work. And you're right at the edge of nature, of people's emotions, of just starvation, etc. And he's willing to do it because why? He wants to repay his parents' kindness. 报父母恩, that's his goal. Okay, how about that? Pretty amazing. Now, I was thinking about, in my experience, can I relate? And I can. I want to share a story here. This is in Monterey, California, and bowing along. No, we don't want that. Come back. There we go. Marty and I have come back from accompanying Master Xuyun and we're bowing along outside of Monterey, and a crazy man approaches, praying and chanting, making hexes, steps over me and is doing voodoo hex signs with his hands. Somebody else comes up behind him and puts money in on our car, on our Plymouth station wagon. This is Marty is riding. At 9:30, I hear the rumbling engine of a police car pull to a slow stop behind us. Uh-oh. A long pause, crackling over the police radio. Uh-oh. The door slams. Marty says, I lift my forehead from the ground. What am I seeing? Shiny black shoes and a blue uniformed policeman waiting for me to get up. Highway patrol. Trouble? Nope. Surprise. Excuse me. Sorry to disturb you. My name is Officer Taylor of the Monterey Police, he says. He has his palms together. He makes a half bow. He tells me his Dharma name. He says, I'm a Buddhist layman. Is there anything I can do to assist you? He's in his police uniform, getting out of his police car with his palms together and a Dharma name. I'm a Buddhist layman. Can I help you? 10 a.m., another crazy man comes up, chanting and yelling, trying to touch Heng Shi. 11 a.m., Officer Taylor returns. He's got tofu, spinach, and bean sprouts as an offering for lunch. He has prepared vegetarian food to offer to the monks. Officer Taylor asks questions about the Six Patriarch Sutra and the Pure Land as he washes the spinach and I fry up the tofu on a picnic table in a small park off the main street in downtown Monterey. Officer Taylor says, I just subscribed to Vajrabodhi magazine. He's one of the 200 people in the world who do that. It's really fine, he says. I like excuse me, he says. He hears a call on the police radio, code 217, armed and dangerous, 10-4. Officer Taylor stiffens and readies to run. I say, take a sandwich before you go, I shout. He says, oh, okay, good idea. He slaps together a tofu peanut butter sandwich. He does a quick bow. He hops in his car. He roars away with the sirens blazing. Richard from the Salinas, California newspaper stops by for a story. He says, I talked to the police. They said good things about you. You're keeping all the rules. You're doing everything right. They say you respect the laws. You know, a lot of people admire that, he says. 1:30, back to bowing. Heavy traffic downtown. My sash gets caught on my shoe heel. Rip. You know how if you people who wear a black robe, you know you have to learn how to stand up after bowing? Very easy to get the robe under your shoes and stand up. Oh, rip it. That easy. Symbolic of my attached, caught in the heel state of mind. Remember back to lunch, watching Heng Shi calmly do the pung bird ceremony when a car full of youth roll by, rock and roll blaring, and a, hey, Baldy! We hardly notice anymore, and after a few days, they hardly notice us either. Something about the bowing and traditional way of life smooths the rough edges and melts suspicions. By the time we bow out of town, we become part of the community, fitting someplace quietly into everybody's mind. Oh, they're the bowing monks. And you know, I'm going to miss you two. I gotten used to seeing you bowing along the streets, you know, says another one with a kind of fondness. People gradually gather us in and treat us like family or old friends without ever having met or even spoken to us. Officer Taylor comes back at 2:30 to offer gas money and to check our progress. Again, the radio calls him away. Suspect driving a 66 Chevy, proceed with caution. We take a break to meditate and write. 4 o'clock, a piece of tomato thrown from a passing car rolls by Heng Shi's head. 5 p.m., a man stops, puts his hand kindly on my shoulder and says, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm really impressed. May I make a contribution? 5:30, transfer the merit from the day's bowing. Walk back to the car, drive the busy city streets, scouting for a still and quiet place to spend the night in Aranya. Sitting in meditation in the car, a chance to reflect on today's lessons, learning to let go and dwell in proper thoughts. The Avatamsaka Sutra, the 10 Transferences, says, proper thoughts manifest before me without any grasping or attaching to them. So, right in the middle of downtown Monterey, California, we get a Kalyana Mitra, a Shanjishi, a Jiryinja. He's wearing a police uniform. He subscribes to Vajrabodhi. He knows about the Sixth Patriarch and the Pure Land. He makes an offering of food, gas money, and a half bow of palms together. So you never know where the affinities are. From Master Empty Cloud's encounter, he meets out in rural Shanxi province a young man who became a Buddhist monk because of his huge discouragement and disappointment at the ways of the world as his father is harmed by a jealous colleague, and whose mother then dies of embarrassment, dies from her own broken heart. So there's a motive for leaving home. You could say disappointment with the world. And yet in 20th century California, we can find public servants who are there entirely to serve. They're Buddhists in their hearts, but they're wearing the uniform of a police officer, right? So how amazing is this world? I'm going to stop here. The Master Empty Cloud's detailed explanation gives us the next amazing encounter that carries, I'll show you the pictures. The encounter carries all the way to Wu Taishan as a general, an army general on pilgrimage to the mountain, becomes the next Dharma protector. Here's the picture. You can see the sun is setting. It's kind of a glorious landscape as Master Empty Cloud is handing his belongings to a military officer, a general, who is in his official carriage going out to be a pilgrim to Wu Taishan. We will continue here next week. And I want to remind everybody, next week will be the same as always from here in the Gold Coast Dharma Realm. For folks who are here, we've got a couple, 20, not quite 20 friends who are here listening in person. You all are certainly encouraged and welcome to come back. Maybe Sam or someone will put the lecture on the screen, or you can watch from home wherever you are. One of the great benefits of this lecture series is the fact that we all get to see each other once a week here in the library after a good lunch and preparing for Saturday afternoon's activities. And after a couple months, at the end of July, I will be back to continue. So I'll continue in person. Meanwhile, the lectures will be from either in Berkeley, California, or City of 10,000 Buddhas, or wherever the wind of the Dharma blows us to be together. All right. So with that in mind, let us make our dedication. I would like to, let's see here. Let's do the, let's see. I see. I've taken my songs. I gave a lecture at Google 2 days ago. Medicine Buddha Mantra. That comes back here. And Dedication of Merit. Back here. Okay. Let us recite the Medicine Buddha Mantra and use this as our dedication, sending out the energy of Medicine Buddha to places around the world where war is happening, where famine is happening. Medicine Buddha's vows have to do with giving us the essentials so we can survive. Those who don't have the essentials, we can send out good energy to break up the karma that keeps them in need and want. All right? So please make a wish, however you would care to send your dedication. Here we go. Samyak Sambuddhaya Ayata Om Saje Saja Samukate Sava Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Saje, saje, saja, samugate sa. One more time. Namo Bhagavate Saja Vajraya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Sajata Saje Saje Saja Samugate Swaha. And we'll conclude by bowing to the Buddhas and to our teacher. Please join me. Here we go. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us for today. We'll see you all next week. Amitofo. Bye now.